first of all, I'm very lucky and very happy and proud to introduce this project, which is very personal. No, already the name, no, Tenute Capaldo brings my family name up front, because we are actually a family that was invested in wine in the 80s. In 1986, we founded probably the largest winery in southern Italy, called Feudi di San Gregorio, actually in Campania. And from that experience, we learned a lot about wine. And the decision to do these 2 single vineyards under the name Tenute Capaldo was a personal decision that I took with my wife. And we really had the idea we wanted to select 2 of the vineyards that we enjoyed most in our experience with Feudi di San Gregorio in the area, and do 2 single vineyards with a very specific style. We will discuss about that. So actually tonight I'm particularly passionate by these wines, because these are really part of the family, let's say. And the whole creation, the whole spirit of creation behind these wines have been very personal, and the style of this wine is quite different from the other wines we produce at Feudi di San Gregorio. So my family started making wine, as I said, in 1986. I was 9 years old at the time, so I was lucky to grow up at the same time as our wine experience. And the area, Campania, actually, is an area that everybody knows for, the Amalfi Coast, Capri, Vesuvio, Naples. But when you think about Campania, you usually think about an image of the sun, the beach, Dolce Vita, or something like that. Actually, if you move from Naples, something like 30 miles inland, so going east, actually the landscape is totally different. And that's exactly where we make these 2 wines. The landscape is different because you enter in an area that is enclosed by mountains. Average altitude of the vineyards there is 450, 500 meters. And these 2 in particular, they are above 600 meters altitude. And you have a lot of rain, which is surprising when you think about southern Italy. Over 150 days of rain, depending on the years. So it's incredible. It's one of the most rainy area of Italy. And that explains, so basically it's not what you expect from the south. As we always say, it's a fake south, it's a fake southern region, because we had, in 2022, for instance, we had 6 times snow, we had 6 days of snow. Wow. It's quite surprising, no? And I have to close about that. Not only you have a wonderful climate which supports the freshness of the grapes and then of the wines, but you are also lucky. We are also lucky because we have great soils. Actually, the soils are a different texture, mostly limestone or in the Fiano area. But when it comes to Greco, they are mostly chalky soil with strong mineral presence, and even sulfurous mines under the level of the vine. So in particular, when we talk about Goleto, this single vineyard is literally, the vines literally grow over one of the largest sulfurous mines in Europe that is actually in our area. When it comes to Aglianico, then you have volcanic soils, volcanic ashes in particular. So the soils are really wonderful. And the third element, and the last one to mention about my area, besides climate and soils, is actually varietals. So some of these varietals, not everyone is familiar with, because they are they grow exclusively in our area. These are indigenous varietals, right, but they're great varietals. They have an incredible history, and we'll probably get back to that in the remaining of our conversation.
Absolutely. Well, that was an excellent overview. Thank you so much. And I've always been singing the praises of Southern Italy, and especially Campania. I'm a huge fan of Fiano, Greco, Aglianico, and in your family's estate, the Feudi di San Gregorio estate is spectacular. So that's why we were just so excited to work with you on this project, because it's really just the pinnacle of the expression from that region, and we're going to get more into that. But I was hoping you could tell us a bit about the focus of sustainability and the vineyards and the terroir that we're dealing with here.
Yeah, first of all, we are very lucky. I mean, in our area, we never experienced intense viticulture. No, so because actually, for the right or wrong reason, let's say, we never got an incredible commercial attention and focus on our wines. They never became great, successful worldwide. They are well known by the connoisseur, but we never got the temptation to increase the volumes, take out woods, take out olive trees, take out other cultivation, and focus on wine. So let's say that the viticulture is part of a biodiverse ecosystem. For instance, if we think about our land, viticulture vines represent 30 to 40% of what we own, because we have woods, we have hazelnut trees, we have olive trees, we have everything. And that's basically the structure of every estate in my area, and also the small estate of, we have a lot of small properties, small parcels, and all these parcels, they actually are this way. You can find the vines, but they coexist with fruit trees, with other vegetables, with the olive trees, with other cultivation. So the first thing is, when we talk about sustainability, or even more, probably more interestingly, we talk about regeneration, the focus is a lot about, having different type of cultivation that actually, nurture the soil system and make the soil, protect actually the soil over time. So that's one thing. The biodiversity is natural in our area. And we never got into extremely intense viticulture that could have made our soils very poor. Then the second thing that we actually we decided as Tenute Capaldo, but also in our larger group of wineries, we decided we are not going to plant any vine when the vine was not present in the last 100 years. So we are not going to pursue any increase in volume and in production at detrimental to the biodiversity of the system. And then, of course, we have our own techniques that are sustainable in terms of protecting the ecosystem of the vines and the soil. So, for instance, we grow other forms of vegetables on the ground, behind the vines, and we have a protocol of protection of resources. So, for instance, we do not give any water to the vines, and a number of other things. In particular, we are studying a lot about the cultivation system that now are the best to tackle climate change. We are changing the guyot system that is everywhere, as you know, and we are a little bit adapting the guyot to the ancient pergola. The pergola, you probably are familiar,